curtain call.
How you doing? Welcome to the Newport Performing Arts Theatre. I'm here promoting a show called Curtains Up with Tanya Manalang and myself, with special guest Leia Salonga. And you're asking me what part of me was Filipino. Like, do you keep your Filipino is? I don't even know how to say it. Your Filipino-ness. But I think my answer to that is that we have such a strong culture here in the Philippines that once you're Filipino, you're always Filipino, no matter where you grow up. I moved to Australia when I was 2 years old, so even as a baby, I know of being an Australian. But my mom and dad, of course, grew up, both Filipino, grew up here. They're mestizos, Spanish Filipino. But they definitely would speak to me in Tagalog bits and pieces. They would, every Christmas and New Year, from when I was 5 years old to when I was 15, my grandfather would make sure that I would spend Christmases and New Year's here in the Philippines. So I grew up every year with my cousins. I got to know them really well. I got to know the culture here. Christmas in Manila is like Christmas like no other place in the world. And New Year's we would spend in Baguio. I got to know the food, the culture, the music. I'd hang out with my cousins. I grew up, having my holiday time in the Philippines. So my memories of the Philippines has always been fun times, and it's a place that's very close to my heart.
What do you love about being Filipino?
The part of Filipino, I think it's a friendliness. I think it's an attitude, that a sense of like, I've never really met a horrible, bad Filipino, really. I mean, people can be a little rude sometimes, but never bad, Intrinsically, I think we're probably the nicest people in the universe. I mean, let's pat ourselves in the back about that.
Wow.
I mean, whenever I meet a Filipino, they're so sweet and so accommodating, and they will invite you to their house. They'll give the only food they have. They want to feed you.
Right.
It's so sweet, and I'm so proud of the Filipino. That it's something that I'm intrinsically a part of, and even though I'm Australian Filipino, I'm Filipino first.
How are you so involved with the country? I mean, do you get to know what's going on here? Are you very up to date?
I'm very close to my cousins. And I'm in touch with them all the time. So we know what's going on here, and I've been very lucky that I've been invited back to the Philippines since doing Rockstar in Excess. I came back to the Philippines for an ad congress at Cebu, and from that point on, met with more performers and more people that wanted me to come back to do more concerts, and so that snowballed, culminating into when I came back in 2012 for Rock of Ages. After doing Rock of Ages on Broadway, I was invited to come and join the cast that were doing the production here in the Philippines, and from that it was a love affair that really blossomed. Working with the people from Atlantis, we came back for 3 repeat seasons for Rock of Ages, and we did Bridges of Madison County last year with Joanna Ampil. And it's every time I go back to the Philippines, it's for me it's a labor of love.
How do you feel? What do you see the future? Like, do you see yourself coming here more often, or how do you see your relationship with the country?
I would love to. I mean, I think what's wonderful about this Curtains Up concert is that it'll hopefully showcase my talents to producers in the Philippines, that maybe they can think of me for other shows, or it may inspire people to, hey, let's do this, something like that. So I hope that perpetuates some more shows here in the Philippines. There's also a project which I'm in talks with at the moment for a show next year, which I'm very excited about, and fingers crossed it all comes to fruition. When that happens, it'll hopefully then spur another generation of shows in the Philippines for myself, which I'm very excited about, because every time I come and work here, I have the best time. And even if I come here a few months of the year, it's something I really look forward to, and it's a highlight of my year.
Is there a life beyond the theater for you?
Yeah, there is life beyond theater. I'm also working on my solo stuff as well, and I'm also working as a photographer part-time in New York as well, which has been really fun.
Right.
And I'm developing that. My grandfather was the president of the Camera Club of the Philippines for 50 years. So my memory of my grandfather, my lolo, my Dr. Alejandro Legarda, was always carrying 3 or 4 different cameras around his neck. And he'd be walking around taking photos, and he'd have his own dark room in the house and print them all up. And his camera collection was phenomenal. And I think the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, because I'm obsessed with it. So that's something that's fun. So that's my life beyond that. I'm also a video editor. I studied film production at university, so I'm working on that with some people, and I'm producing some shows as well in New York with some friends there. And I'm also doing some solo shows as well on ships and stuff, and working with like people like the Tenors of Rock. I'm doing some work with them as well. So there's lots of exciting projects I'm working on, which has been very busy this year. This year has been off the Richter scale with being busy.
I guess
And-
the Filipinos.
It's wonderful. Like I'm seriously living out of a suitcase this year,
Oh.
and I tried not to do that this year. But it's what the universe provides,
Right,
and I'm so blessed to have this job. It's really the best job in the world. Every day is a totally different day. I was in Alaska last week. Week before that, I was in Las Vegas. I mean, talk about extremes, and now I'm here in the Philippines. It's like, what? It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I couldn't ask for anything better.
Thank you for the time, and we hope to see more of you. And just one last invitation
Sure.
for your show. When
Yes.
and where?
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, please come and see Curtains Up, starring myself, Mig Ayesa, with Tanya Manalang, and special guest Leia Salonga, with the Manila Philharmonic Orchestra, right here, July 14, 8 p.m. at the Newport Performing Arts Theater at Resorts World, Manila. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, one concert only, so please don't miss it. It's very special.